Falcons will square off against all four members of the NFC North this season. This will be the first time they've played the entire division since 2017 when they went 3-1. The North sent two teams to the playoffs last season and has the potential to repeat that once again this season. Let's see how the Falcons stack up against the NFC North in 2020. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for tuning back into yet another episode of Falcons Friday presented by the MorganMan Sports Podcast. You can find me here on SoundCloud.com, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast from. Like I said at the top of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the NFC North, and this is a division that I think personally is going to be way much more tough than, say, like the AFC West or the NFC South, in my honest opinion. The North always gives us a very good matchup, but also sometimes a very difficult matchup. So we're going to kick things off by talking about the Minnesota Vikings versus the Falcons. The Falcons opened their 2019 season with a 28-12 loss in Minnesota, where the Vikings rushed for 172 yards and Kirk Cousins only threw the ball 12 times. The Vikings finished the season 10-6 and second in the division. The Falcons' bread and butter is running the football. They ranked 6th in the league in that category last year. They will rely on running the football again this season with Dalvin Cook back in the fold. Cousins was able to exercise some playoff demons by beating the Saints on the road, and disgruntled, if I'm pronouncing this right, wide receiver Stephon Diggs, but the team used one of its 2 first-round picks on LSU wide receiver Justin Jefferson to replace the production. The Vikings have traditionally been good on defense under head coach Mike Zimmer, but that could change this season with losses they've had. Everson Griffin, Laval Joseph, Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, and Andrew Sinandro are all gone. A defense that was middle of the pack against the past lost 2 starters, but drafted Jeff Gladday and Cameron Dantzler to be replacements at cornerback. The retooled defense of the Vikings could benefit the Falcons in Week 6 matchups. However, the Falcons will need to be able to stop the run game this time around. The additions of Marlon Davidson, Dante Fowler Jr., and a healthy Deion Jones help there. The Falcons versus the Green Bay Packers. The Packers were the best team in the division last year, holding a 13-3 record led by Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers started off the year on fire, offensively averaging 26 points per game, but cooled down after a Week 9 loss at the hands of Los Angeles Chargers. The wide receiver position has been a big question mark. Outside of Devontae Adams, the team doesn't have a true number 2 option. Rodgers does make others better, but there is only so much he can do. They added running back A.J. Dillon in the draft to complement Aaron Jones. The Packers made a real effort to improve their defense last season, and they did with the additions of Preston and Zadarius Smith on the edges. The 2 combines for 25.5 sacks last year and made an immediate impact. Jair Alexander has solidified himself as a team number 1 corner and is one of the best corners in the league, or better corners. The Falcons will have to be firing on all cylinders in this Monday Night Football matchup. With their secondary a work in progress, Rodgers could look to have a big day through the air, so stopping the running will be imperative. A shootout will be more than likely to happen, so whoever could get the last stop will be the winner. The Chicago Bears finished the season 8-8 and 3rd in the division, but they struggled to get 8 wins because of their subpar offensive production. Led by Mitchell Trubisky, the Bears ranked 29th in the league of offense. They struggled to run the ball, averaging 3.9 yards per carry. The combination of David Montgomery and Tark Cohen stuff to get anything going without the threat of the pass. They brought Nick Foles to compete for the starting quarterback position along with tight ends Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet from Notre Dame in hopes that it will spark the offense. Not really much to worry on defense right here because the Bears are in top 10 defense with Khalil Mack on the field. So I'm not really worried about the defense right there. Well, the Falcons honestly should be, but Akeem Hicks anchors the middle of the line and is a run stuffer, which allows others to have success. They do. Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan, if I'm pronouncing that right, anchored the linebacker corps while Eddie Jackson and Kyle Fuller hold down the secondary. When clicking on all cylinders, the Bears' defense is extremely difficult to score on. Hicks missed the time due to injury last year, but it should be good to go for this season. This game will be a slugfest. The Falcons have the better offense, but it is an even out by the Bears' defense. The Bears' offense will be slightly better, but not by much. So they won't score a lot of points. The Falcons may need a defensive touchdown or one on special teams to really get a W against the Chicago Bears. And last but not least, the Falcons face it off against the Detroit Lions. Lastly, the Detroit Lions are entering year 3 of head coach Matt Patricia's tenure. Quarterback Matthew Stafford missed 8 games last year after suffering broken bones in his back. When healthy, the Lions' offense is pretty dang good. Wide receiver Kenny Golladay proved himself at the team's number 1 receiver last year. The team also drafted DeAndre Swift to complement Kyrian Johnson in the backfield, and former first-round pick TJ Hawkinson hopes to improve in up-and-down rookie campaign. The Lions have the making of a high-scoring offense right here. On defense, the question marks. Patricia's unit ranked toward the bottom of the league in most categories last year, and turmoil in the locker room led to some bad performances from some players like Damian Harrison and Darius Slay. Those two were gone, so they drafted cornerback Jeff Okudah to replace Slade. The Lions also struggled against the run, but the addition of Danny Shelton could help along with the team's return of Desan Hand from injury. The Falcons will get a look at former corner Desmond Trufant in this one. All things even, this should be a high-scoring game. The Falcons are at home, so they could give them the advantage. The Falcons will have its hands full in the NFC North this year. They match up pretty well with every team, and there's no clear disadvantages. The good thing for the Falcons is that they will get these games very early into the season. So, looking at the schedule right here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be facing the Chicago Bears first, and that is September 27th in the Benz. Then we'll head up to Green Bay, Wisconsin on Monday Night Football to face the Green Bay Packers. And that will be, of course, primetime, and that means that Aaron Rodgers will definitely be clicking on all cylinders. But also, too, we're undefeated in Monday Night Football. Then we'll have the Minnesota Vikings, a game after the Carolina Panthers one, on October 18th in their stadium at US Bank Stadium. And then finally, we will finish off the NFC North on October 25th in the Benz against the Detroit Lions. So again, guys, this is going to be a very interesting matchup between the Falcons and the NFC North. I'm looking for, honestly, consistency. I'm looking for improvements from our side pretty much because, this is a Falcons podcast and I'm a Falcons fan. So I'm just looking at how well do the Falcons stack up against the NFC North, and honestly, I think we do stack up pretty dang well against this. Yes, we're going to have a few disadvantages like the Chicago Bears defense, where our defense could pretty much score on their offense, but it's going to be the other way around where it really kind of makes me worried. Is Khalil Mack going to really just run through Jake Matthews and Chris Lindstrom and Hennessy? I mean, it's going to be crazy with that guy on the field. So if the Falcons can honestly start momentum hot against that game, I think we'll win it. For Green Bay, again, it's going to be early in the season, so that's what I was really hoping for, and that's what we got. So we could honestly win that one right there easily, but it would just have to come down to establishing that run game against that Packers defense and getting a few special plays through the air. Lions, it's going to be really tough against that secondary, especially with Desmond Trufant being in the corner because he is a turnover machine. So guys, there you have it. That is the Falcons 2020 schedule breakdown, the NFC North edition, right there, ladies and gentlemen. But I sure hope you did enjoy today's episode of Falcons Friday. If you did, make sure to like button here on SoundCloud.com, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast from. Till then, Cole Morgan, will catch you all later.